That's not really what's going on. It's that games make you a contagious vector of awesome. So that's what this keynote's about. The top secret science of why games make you a contagious vector of awesome 101. Okay, so important caveats. The science does not work if, you're gonna hate me, maybe, you play games more than 28 hours a week. Now, I know, this is a tough one. If you're playing more than 4 hours a day, the science doesn't work. So just keep that in mind. If you're an asshole and it also doesn't work if you're playing more. So, you know, when you're choosing who to play with, which online communities to join, please keep that in mind. Okay, but otherwise, it totally works. Okay, so I want to start with the children because, as you know, there are many people concerned with the video games and how they're destroying our youth and that sort of thing. I'm sure you guys know that there have been many, many studies showing that there is no correlation, let alone causation, of real-world violence and playing violent video games. But it turns out there is an interesting correlation with other kinds of games we play and real-life behaviors. So this was a study looking at what happens when kids play pro-social games where you're actually helping people in the world, like Super Mario Sunshine, in which you help clean up a polluted island, super awesome game. Or what happens when we play co-op games, like Plants vs. Zombies. And you guys all have your super cool Plants vs. Zombies hats on. That's like really awesome. So yeah, turns out what happens is if we play these games for just half an hour, and this is true, they only tested this for kids aged 16 up through college age, but half an hour of gaming increases the amount of time we spend helping people in real life by a factor of 3. So 3 times as much time spent helping friends with a problem or helping someone in our family with a chore that we actually volunteer to help. It turns out that we kind of developed this cooperation radar that's like looking for ways to be of help because it sets this cognitive framework in our mind. So this was a study conducted in Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, the United States, the Netherlands. They looked at thousands of gamers and their real life time spent helping people and the kinds of games that they were playing. And they could actually increase the amount of time people spent helping just by giving them half an hour of playing co-op. So, you know, for years we've been told that games bring out the worst in us. But is it possible that what's actually happening is that games are bringing out the best in us? If so, that would be a pretty cool side effect. Now this study was of 7,000 gamers playing music genre games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band. May they rest in peace. Oh, I know. So they were wondering if these games were a distraction. You know, people would get really good at playing virtual music and like never learn to play a real musical instrument. What they found out, on the contrary, was that 67% of these 7,000 gamers who were playing music genre games regularly, 67% said they had been inspired to pick up one of the instruments that they did not know how to play in real life and play it in real life after playing the game. 67%. And the more interesting stat was that among musicians who already owned a real-life guitar or real-life drums, 73% said they were spending more time playing a real instrument after they got the video game, and they were tracking how much time they spent. So, you know, is it possible that rather than distracting us from real-life goals, like learning how to play a musical instrument, that games can actually be a gateway, a kind of springboard to real-life goals? If so, that would be a pretty cool side effect. I love the research at Stanford University looking at how playing with cool avatars makes us feel and act differently in the real world. In case you're wondering, these were rated the 5 hottest avatars, male avatars in Second Life last year. I don't know what you guys feel about that hotness quotient. But what this study found was that playing with an avatar that you think is hot, that you are feeling hot with your avatar, for just 90 seconds changes for 24 hours how confident you are in the real world. You're more confident in meetings, you're more confident taking tests, and the most dramatic impact was on flirting with members of the opposite sex, that you actually seek out more attractive people to flirt with after you've had an attractive avatar. You actually think you have a better chance with somebody who's really hot after you play with a hot avatar. All right, so, you know, is it possible that games are changing who we think are. We go out in the real world and we actually feel better about ourselves and take more chances. If so, that would be a very good side effect. The most mind-blowing study I've seen in years was actually done by the U.S. Army's Mental Health Assessment Team. They were looking at coping mechanisms for soldiers stationed in Afghanistan. And they looked at everything from reading, to writing, to listening to music, connecting on Facebook, and of course, playing video games. And what they found out was that soldiers who spent 3 to 4 hours a day playing games like Halo or Call of Duty actually had the lowest rates of post-traumatic stress disorder, suicide attempts at home, depression, anxiety, domestic violence, that there was a direct connection. You can see in this chart over here, that bottom curve is for people playing 3 to 4 hours a day of video games. The further along the curve you go, the more time you're spending playing games. And the only thing that protected the soldiers better, so it gave them more mental resilience, was working out at the gym 5 to 6 hours a day. Now, I don't know about you guys. Between working out 5 to 6 hours a day and playing video games 3 to 4 hours a day, I think I know which one is more likely. And it actually has a very good effect. And so I've been working with the Army to kind of figure out what this means. But as we figure out the science of this, we can start to ask ourselves, are the games we play actually protecting us from real harm? That would be a good side effect. This last study is about all these scary games that we play, right? For a long time, people have thought that games that are really scary and horrifying, disturbing, they probably give gamers nightmares, right? There's a woman, a researcher in Grant McEwen University.